Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Saturday night Sci Fi Shadow Chat. Tonight, we're going to talk about what sci fi games you guys are going to be playing or refereeing this year with all the stuff that has gone on in the last couple of weeks. I thought, what a nice way to get away from a lot of that nonsense than by jumping into your favorite sci-fi RPG or board game or war game, if that's your jam. I'm going to be running a bunch of stuff, and I know Bo is interested in running something. Real quick, though, I want to thank Rick from 28 millimeter RPG again for that freaking stellar intro music and outro music that he wrote for our channel. I play it right before our regular weekday shows, and the whole house is just rocking with Rick's, just awesomeness. And I had it on one device, the device I'm streaming from, and I'm like, you know what, I'm being dumb. I need to go back, find that, download it to my other device so I can, use it a little bit more often, because it's I'm not going to lie. I asked him to listen to a couple of songs. This is what I like, and he freaking nailed it. My son and I were listening to one of those inspirational songs in the car today, and he's like, it just sounds like our theme song. And I'm like, the guy's a genius. He didn't copy the song, but, it's got the same feel, the same kind of things going on. So, Rick, if you're out there watching this, thanks again. I cannot wait to get into one of his games. He invited me into one of his games again this year, and I'm really looking forward to it because the last time I got to play in the very first episode of Shadows of the Stars, again, it was a blast. True role-playing at its finest. None of the clutter that can just, pull you out of that epic level of immersion that we're all looking for when we actually play a sci-fi game. Fat Gamer, nice to see you in the stream. To my right or left, depending on your perspective, is my good friend Bo. Bo, your package is in the mail. I'm pretty sure it went out priority. Almost everybody else's went out first class. Sorry to be a cheapskate, but a couple of the packages cost me more than the value of the items because that one went to Canada, and I was like, I'd be better off just sending the guy a check, but that's not what I promised. I promised to send him some Pathfinder stuff, and I'm hoping he will get it. But yours, when I was mailing your package, the guy says, for like 20 cents more, you can ship it priority. I'm like, for Bo? Yeah, I'll splurge, and so hopefully he'll get it in like 2 or 3 days, including Sunday. So maybe Tuesday you'll come home and there'll be a bigger package than you're expecting. Because one of our friends who had won a prize said, you know what, go ahead and give it to somebody else. And I'm like, I know just the man, and this way you'll be getting, what you're expecting, and something extra, and hopefully something that you can actually include the little guys with. I'm thinking that you'll actually, when all is said and done, be able to get the whole family kind of involved at the table, whichever table you decide to use at that moment, and enjoy it. But I'm going to read off a list of the people whose packages are in the mail, because a couple of you, I either lost your email or your mailing address, or I never got it in the first place. And I'm only going to give people so many chances to send me their address before I just, put it in the pile for our 1,000 subs giveaway. But Bloodworth, your Star Trek book is in the mail. Hungar, your stuff is in the mail. Guillaume Barnaby, your stuff is in the mail, and it cost me a pretty penny, man.
Mm.
Um, Canada, it was heavy. I mean, it was a Pathfinder book, a Pathfinder set of magnetic boards, and a DM screen, and it was the heaviest package I mailed. And um, a man of my word, I went in there and I was playing a little game with my son. I was like, "How much do you think?" Because we went in with like 10 package, and I was like, "How much do you think it'll cost?" He's like, "Oh, like $100, Dad." I'm like, "Ha ha ha! I should be so lucky." And I said, "Probably 250." And it wasn't. It was a little bit less, but either way, I want to make sure everybody gets their stuff. Um, Michael Dimart, your stuff is in the mail. Connell, of course, your stuff is in the mail. Charlotte Williams, you lucky lady, your stuff is in the mail. Bo mentioned you. Baron, your stuff is not in the mail because either I wrote down the wrong address or you don't live there anymore and you moved over the weekend. So I'll double check and I'll get your book in the mail. And Omen, your surprise package is in the mail. Now, the people who did not uh, get me the address or I made a mistake and lost it. My Yahoo account is really weak. It'll save things for like 2 weeks and then it'll disappear into limbo. And if I try to type it in, sometimes I can find the corresponding previous emails. Sometimes no. So if you can, get a hold of me on Discord. If not, go ahead and use the email address that's in our giveaway videos. Michael Otero, I don't have your address or I lost it. Wesley Brister, same thing. I don't have your address and I really want to get you that Schmorgenrog because I know you'll paint it up and make me look like an amateur. Same thing with you, Michael Otero, and your Starside minis. I need addresses. Grim, your package is in the mail. And yes, you are going to be one happy camper. Very happy camper. Travis J. 1975. One, I haven't heard from you in centons, and I don't have your address. Cal Vanoni, the great guy that you are, letting Connell have your win for the miniatures was awesome. But you still have a book coming to you, and all of the books we autographed and defaced and scribbled on the insides and personalized. I hope you guys don't mind, but that's just what we're going to do because we want you guys to, one, not go and eBay them and get rid of them and try to make money off me. No, seriously, I want you guys to, every time you pick up that book, remember us and, how much, we appreciate you guys. And I don't know about you, but something like that, I have books that were given to me by people. And I always, like I was talking to Total Party Skills, I'll buy your book, but I want it autographed. I want my son to later on down the road be able to pick up this book and open up that front cover and go, oh yeah, and just have those memories come flooding back in and make that book more than just a hunk of paper that I don't care about it. No, man, books are your friends. They won't pick you up from the airport, but I truly believe that they're special. Storm and Shadow, same thing. I don't have your address, and I know I talked to you on Nathan's channel. I'll try and talk to you again tonight later, and hopefully you'll be there and I can get your address because you also won a book. And, I know it's kind of weird getting book 8 out of a 9-book series from Emperor's Choice, but believe it or not, I looked at the book and there's a lot of useful stuff in there. And I know. And Bo, hey Charlotte, how you doing?
Bo, Shadow.
I didn't want to say anything like that. I love the guys at Emperor's Choice, and I looked at the book Winds of Change, and it really does have good stuff that you can use. Just the way David A. Hargrave wrote his books, it wasn't like they were a continuation. It was just random crap that he had to put into a book. And okay, this is all the stuff I've done since the last book here, and with volume 1 through 3 that you got in the mail, you'll see if you were to have gotten the original volumes, it was a hot mess. There was stuff all over the place, and they got a new editor who fixed it up and put it all in a nice, concise, format, and it's got everything where you want it. It's not in high Gygaxian, it's in high Hargravian, and it all works. And there's extra stuff in the new hardback version of the original trilogy of grimoires from Hargrave, and the book 6 or book 8 is got a lot of neat stuff in it, and hopefully you will bite on that hook and you will go out and buy a ton of stuff from Emperor's Choice. I know a lot of people actually have been picking up the stuff because they've liked what they've seen, or they remember it from days gone by when we all had our little original white box books with some Arduin books in there, same size, same format, and you're just like, my secret magic user tomes of forbidden knowledge, and smacking your friend's hands with the ruler should they dare try to peek inside, because the nastiness and the humor and the tricks and the traps and the treasures were, to this day, the stuff that you get from some of these bigger companies is so watered down, and he was not afraid to take like a wand of fireballs, a wand of lightning, and a wand of like paralyzation and slap them together as one wand. Here you go. Yeah, it was like, not a problem. Here you go. The thing was called a witch fire wand, and all the fire was black, and just like, okay, you get hit with an AT fireball and save versus paralyzation for a charge. Ow! Not only am I burning, I can't put it out because I'm freaking stuck in this position.
Right.
And mind you, this is a game where he would be, he in one of his books is like, yeah, we're gonna stop using the old hit point thing. Now you get like 27 hit points and you never get any more. There's your character.
Right.
It's like, ow. You went from 60, 70, 80 hit point fighter with the new formula. You got like 27, and you're still the beefcake of the party. And apparently, Hungar sensed the fact that I just got some T-shirts in the mail. Let's bring him in there. Hey, man.
What's up,
Check
guys?
it out.
Wait, is that a hospital bed? That's not a hospital
Yeah.
bed, is it?
Hungar.
Nice.
They came here so fast, I was absolutely shocked. I ordered some other stuff, but because it was a different medium, it'll be here later. But you can guarantee we'll be sporting that. The boy loves his fro long sleeve shirt because he doesn't like the short sleeve shirts. And if he was joining us tonight, he would be wearing it, or he would be grounded. But since it's raining outside, kind of grounded anyways. But we had a great busy day. Just barely got the packages to the post office. Your package, Hungar, is in the mail. It should be there. I'm hoping by the end of the week.
I'll still be in the hospital. I'll still be in the hospital from then.
Well, make sure somebody brings it to you so you have some reading material. Like I was telling Bo, we autographed the book for you. All the books that we sent out, every single book we sent out has got a little personal touch from us to our friends, that hopefully, when you look back, and read, every time you pick up that book, you'll be able to be like, yep.
Yeah, and for the new viewers, that Arduin 1 through 3 is a hefty tome. I mean, it's not a full 8.5 by 11, but it's a good 1.5 2 inches thick. And you buy that book and you got your money's worth, because you've got a lot to plow through. Nice. So just shout out to those guys. And I do have my Funky Frank Pale Ale sticker up on my painting shelf there. So
awesome,
shout out to
awesome.
Also, I'm giving shout outs to 28mm RPG, his channel, his shows on Traveler. If you want to watch some a good RPG group, boy, I get a little twinge of jealousy when I watch them play. Man, I wish I was having a game of Traveler tonight instead of just watching it while I'm at work. So shout out to those guys too.
What was that, Hungar?
I love Traveler. It's such a good game.
It really is. And despite what Shauna might say, the old books work just fine. I like the new Mongoose 2nd edition. I really like it a lot. But, the game was so easy that I literally could probably play it at the beach without books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it would be hard to roll dice in the sand, but, I've literally role played in the Pacific Ocean. Me and a buddy of mine We were out at the beach, and we were playing D&D or Gamma World. It was, as a matter of fact, at his place, and then we went to the beach, and I'm like, well, let's finish the game. We're just standing around here in the ocean. We didn't bring our boogie boards or surfboards, and we're just standing there, just floating there. And like, yeah, let's do some role playing, man. And we did in the freaking ocean. It can be done anywhere. It's not that hard. It's not rocket science. But tonight we are actually going to talk about a little bit of rocket science. That being, what sci-fi games are you going to play or run this year? With all that crap.
If you got her email.
Oh, yes, I got your Charlotte, I got your email, and your package is in the mail. I wanted to find that meme, the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back meme, when the first ship is away, the rebel transport, the first transport is away, but I couldn't find it. But just picture that. Everybody, the first transport is away, and all your goodies are in the mail, except for the few exceptions, which we talked about earlier. Oh my goodness, Janet from another planet is here to say hello. On guard, don't get too excited, man.
She said hi to me.
I know.
That's right.
I'm jealous. I'm not jealous, Janet. We love you. If you have not subscribed to Janet from Another Planet, please go and do so right now. She has got a very, very charming, cute, funny, interesting, and helpful channel of just straight from the heart herness, just pure Janet from Another Planet. Stuff that I can't always watch around my son. No offense, Janet, but that's because he's such a prude. He's a bigger prude than anybody I've ever met. It makes me sad because I really want grandchildren someday. But he would just shake his head in disappointment. But we love you, Janet. Yes, Charlotte, you are a very lucky lady. You came in at just the right moment to win probably one of the more coveted of prizes for that giveaway. Not going to lie, but you know what? For those of you, if you really want those, they're out there on eBay, and they're not that expensive, and you can actually get them from Archon Studios, from their online store, and it's chock full of so much. Charlotte, I don't know if you have a hot knife, but if you don't, get one. If not, get some candles and an X-Acto knife. Watch our hot knife video, because there are a lot of fiddly little parts that you're going to have to cut loose from the sprues and assemble. Use model glue, not super glue, and be very careful, because the model glue actually melts the pieces together, and therefore you get a better bond. But there are some tiny little pieces that could easily break, or if you're trying to clip them free, the tension that the clippers will make can put too much pressure on, like a spear end. So I recommend cutting the fiddliest parts first, but with a hot knife, so you just melt that plastic away, and then you can file it down later. But the cool thing about this kind of plastic and model glue is you can, like, say a spear breaks, you can just put glue and melt it, just melts it together. So even if you didn't get it perfect, you just hold it there and squeeze it a little on the sides to help the plastic mold into the shape you want, and your spear's back together. You try that with super glue, and you're going to break it again, because you're going to stick to it.
Right. Two things. If you ever get a chance to participate in one of the Archon's Kickstarters, you get an incredible, unsponsored, no free stuff. I paid for my last Kickstarter, but when they start unlocking their stretch goals, they don't mess around on their stretch goals. You spend $70-$80 and you get a box of stuff. If you do tabletop, wargaming, skirmish gaming, or role playing, and you want to get a whole table full of high quality, like a Games Workshop quality terrain for a third the price, highest recommendation out there in TV land. Go for it.
And one of the things about Archon is every Kickstarter I've ever backed has come in early, not late by a year, but early by like 3 to 6 months. Sometimes it's so early that I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm not done with the last Kickstarter, but you know what? I will back every Kickstarter, not every, I'm not going to back certain things, but every Rampart and every Dungeons and Lasers Kickstart I will back. They've got another one coming out this quarter. It's 400 miniatures.
Yeah,
400.
That's insane.
Definitely the sci-fi ones. I don't know about the fantasy ones, just because my man cave's only so big, and I could be really over what my pile of shame could become a room of shame in a real hurry. But
yeah, I've got two of those. One's called a garage, and one's the other part of the studio you can't see. I'm kind of bummed that they haven't put out more sci-fi stuff. The last 3 Kickstarters for Dungeons and Lasers has been Dungeons with no lasers, and I'm kind of looking forward to some stuff. I'm going to have to talk to them because I'm supposed to do an interview with one of the creators, and I've got this great idea that they're just missing out of the boat with.
Right. Okay, so on topic.
Let me bring in Omen. He's sitting there in the green room harassing my aides, and flirting with my girls. Let's get Omen in here. And Kai, you know what? If you want to jump in, because we're talking sci-fi tonight, just don't bail on me, okay, man? Okay, you hurt my feelings. My heart was broken, man. Rick, if you want to join us, you're also welcome. But let's get our good friend Omen. What happened? What the hell, Omen? If you don't want to come in, just say so.
Hey, man.
There you are.
Yeah.
Hey, man, your surprise package is in the mail. It should be here. I know some tricks when you mail stuff. If you pay for a tracking number, it like changes the delivery time from, like say you were mailing it first class, but you put a tracking number on it. It's like, well, we better bump it up a little faster because it's got a tracking number. We don't need to be explaining why it's been, in Sheboygan for like 8 days, because the trucks aren't filled. Just put it on the truck. So all of you guys, your stuff is in the mail. It'll be there. I've got the tracking number.
We had a guest visitor behind Bo there.
Oh, yeah. My number 3 is, well, Connell's not here, so I'm not so concerned. And if he was, I tell you what, though, Connell, man, he's like Mr. Rogers compared to Max when Max gets on a tirade. Holy smokes! Is it Max or Andrew Dice Clay?
Well, you know what you're talking about these games, and I don't know. I just came in, and he was absolutely right with Chimera. And I know that he was in a bad mood that one time he disconnected. Oh man, but Kai adds so much to sci-fi. That's
he really does. He really does. That's why I invited him. If he wants to come in, you're more than welcome. I put the link down there. I could hold 2 more people. My son, he's busy today. I really wanted him to join, but he's not running a game, and he's not probably playing in anything but fantasy right now. I don't want to talk superheroes. Kai, I was just trying to make a point. There's a lot of people out there that do. There's a lot of times we talk about stuff that I don't want to talk about either, but I'm gonna be nice and
well, part
be
of
nice,
is I think that Kai and Axie are kind of on the similar wavelength, but he goes about it pretty hard. So
yeah, well, I look at it like this. I look at a lot of the super abilities aren't much different than feats if you look at them from a mechanical point of view, because I don't do spandex. If any of my players ever said, I want a super suit, they'd be out the door faster than you can, let out anyways.
I want to be Mr. Freeze if we're going to go that way, but no, that's not what I'm referring
to. Right. No, I just say, when you think about things like, eugenics or, the things that could happen in a sci-fi scenario, I was just trying to use that as an example, especially with the magic, because, if you can play a Spelljammer game, then, why not have a little bit of mysticism? What level you want to do, that's up to you. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about let's get over that nonsense of last week and break out our sci-fi books. We've all got them. I know Kai's got probably more than I do, probably more than anybody else on the planet when it comes to sci-fi RPGs. But I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. Hey again, Janet. If you want to, come in and listen to a bunch of old farts or tell us that you want to play some Star Trek, I don't do Star Trek. That's why I gave that Star Trek away.
I'll play some faster Star Trek now.
I've got that. I didn't like the Modifius version. That's why I gave it away. But I've actually got the very first Star Trek role-playing game ever. You know who put it out? It wasn't FASA. It was by Heritage Miniatures.
Oh, that's right. I saw your video on the minis.
I'm missing a few since you're talking about it, but one of your favorites there.
Yeah.
But I haven't really read through this system that much. I mean, I'm familiar with Conan, but every one of them's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Woke company, but I really do enjoy the game. But this is like super simple if you want to play Firefly.
Who put that one out?
Well, it's Evil Hat. Like I said, it's a woke. But the actual what's so funny is they say one thing on Twitter, and yet when you interact with them online, they're like super nice and like, okay, stop virtue signaling.
Have a good one, young man.
But to be fair, this is kind of interesting, and this is what I was looking for with your. And I don't have I have the Traveler in PDF, but the Numenera stuff was kind of what I was figuring. I know it's still in the shrink wrap, but I have the PDFs. But
take it easy, Multi. We'll see you again. We'll be here for a while. Oh my God, Rick, my son would absolutely kill for that hat. My son would kill for that hat.
I have a black one, but I
could probably send him one.
He would break open his piggy bank. He has got a hat fetish like no kid I've ever met. He just bought a straw hat, the old 19 roaring 20s one. He paid like $50 for that thing. I'm like, are you kidding? We can go to Shakey's Pizza. I'll get you one at styrofoam. And then he says, oh, everybody at school loved it. I'm like, dude, now that's a sharp hat.
No, wait a minute. It's a hard hat.
Nice.
So that's what I that's where we're at work. And then of course we gotta talk about this one because it's like Gamer World, but it's so
it's 10 times more complicated and you could flatten a squirrel with it.
No, I sent you the list. No, this one's about a normal size, this one's not so bad as the Dungeon Crawl Classics. You gotta compare the two.
Omen, I seen you had the Numenera. You have the old Numenera.
No, actually, this is the new one.
Did you have the new one?
Hold on, Hungar. We'll get to you.
Hold on. Oh, yeah, you do. You do have the new one. Yay! That's a good one.
Actually, you know what part of this comes down to? I know we've been talking about trying to do Pugmire, but is I like having some of the stuff in there because it seems like a perfect fit for grabbing some of the ciphers to use in like a Pugmire game. Steal shameless. Actually, I had a colonel once tell me steal shamelessly and without apology. And I said, oh, yeah, if it's going to be my game, I like those little ciphers. You can just throw out like it's a one-use item. Here you go. I don't have to worry about overpowering the game. And, that's the problem. Sometimes you never get magic items that have more than one use. And, if you don't have that, it's like.
I see you in chat all the time. I've never seen you in person. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, good.
I guess you were talking to Rick, right?
Yeah.
He's never met me.
That's right. Let's see. I've got another one around here somewhere. I have the Coriolis book. Which
a bunch of good guys, actually.
Coriolis, that book is pretty. I'm going to be playing some Gamma World and some 40K and maybe some Traveler for Sci-Fi this year.
Well, we have openings for Traveler if you're interested.
I've been playing Traveler forever. James.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to be in a game with Hungar. That would be pretty epic. But I'm really looking forward to that game, Rick. I want to thank you again. I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, but I figured out how to, not be such a blonde, and I downloaded the music you made for us onto a separate device so I could play it at the beginning of these shows now. We were in the car today listening to those songs, I asked you about, and he was like, my son was sitting there next to me. He's like, man, this guy is good. And he wasn't talking about the band we were listening to. He was talking about you. Like I told you, man. And he's asking me, like, do you think he'd write some music for my show when it comes out? I'm like, gotta ask him, man. Gotta be here tonight. And he's like, I gotta finish this project. So
Rick, I'd love to be in one of your games, but right now with my health the way it is, being in and out of the hospital, it's really not a good time for me to be in any games at the moment.
Well, we're all praying for you. My son and I are going to
more of my sci-fi books here. You know, we've got Dune.
Dune, I love Dune.
Wow, that's a pretty cover.
This is one of the collector's editions. I probably spent way
Is
too
that
much.
is that the $30,000 one that Crafty was talking about?
No. I mean, that's the leather one. This was the one that you come with everything. Actually, and to be fair, the system hasn't clicked with me, and that just may be me. But this is not one that I would. It was so far away from the normal 2D20, and then of course Coriolis, which was the one that Hungar was talking about, being very pretty. You know, it's got the art's pretty good. You know, I like this. I've read through bits and pieces of it, and then you know, and then Mutant Crawl. What is it? The Gen Lab Alpha version. I have the other one too. The thing is, man, I spent way too much whenever they have stuff on 50% sale. I'm like, okay, I'll buy $600 worth of books. I'm like, what am I doing? I did that. Well, that's what I'll do. Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid to talk about how much I like. You know, we talked about this year. I got some more stuff for Numenera, and they had it for 50% off sale. I'm like, well, for $25, I'll buy these books. And the artwork, regardless of how you feel about the company, the artwork is fantastic.
It's
and the
great.
PDFs,
It's awesome.
The PDFs are probably the best PDFs for any game you'll find. Period. I mean, when you get in there, they'll have a little side note, and you click on it, and it takes you there. It's all cross.
I love when they do stuff like that. I was going through Vigilante City, and I wasn't sure if it did that, and I clicked on it. I'm like, oh, okay. One more reason to love this game. I'm going to bring Connell in, even though
he doesn't do sci-fi. He's not allowed. No, I'm just kidding. He's good.
Yeah, I was going to just give him a big old ration of shit, but you summed it up quite succinctly. But first, let me hit up Charlotte's comment. I can't get enough of them now, but I have some Mongoose Traveler 1 East, some Gamma World 4th, Fading Sun, Star Wars D6, and a few others. Also, Hail Cigar, the DM. The Hail Cigar DM. I guess because Charlotte likes you so much, and you're my little brother, I am going to bring you in, but you better have some good sci-fi stuff to talk about, man. There we go. I don't know what the hell that is. Dude, it's like this big on my screen.
Somebody want to read for him?
Hold it, Connell.
It looks like it's a 4-letter word that I'm not going to mention around Bo's little ones right now.
Yeah, you're not allowed. I'll tell you this much, and I'm not sure where you count this, but as far as the cipher system, this is probably my favorite setting.
Sci-fi.
Well, what is it?
Predation. It's basically
okay.
dinosaurs.
All I could see was the Asian, and I'm like, that could be anything.
But
alien
it's dinosaurs with lasers. I mean, you can't.
Oh, you know what? We actually built some dinosaurs with lasers on the channel. So, yeah. Oh, a side note. I told everybody I'm going to try to send some things from the channel, some crafts that we made, but I just couldn't swing it because almost every situation, either the boxes were barely big enough to ship things out, or the items would have crushed whatever we sent. So I'm going to work on it. I have all your addresses, and I'm going to keep them. So I can put you on my mailing list and sell your personal information to China. No, I'm going to try and send you guys out a little something extra, from the channel, something that was literally on the show that we made. But I want to make sure that I can just wrap it in just bubble wrap, and it'll arrive, in one piece. Yeah, I hear nothing but bad things about the game system.
I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about this system for it. I've heard a couple of people say that the only problem is when you start getting players is you can get into a panic spiral.
Maybe it was the first system. Maybe it was the first version that I had heard about. I'm not sure.
I like it. It feels like Alien. It's not Alien as You have the Panic. I have the other books too. I mean, I have everything. They're only like 4, but the starter set is fantastic. It comes with everything you need. The only thing it doesn't come with is a character generation, but it depends whether you want to play cinematic or not. But I really have liked reading the Alien book. The one part I know that Heathen Dog hates is it's all black pages and they're somewhat glossy. So, but when Free League comes out with their stuff, and they usually have a sale, usually with Black Friday, and the other one is in the summer.
No worry, Hungar. We'll be here. We'll be here, Hungar.
Yeah.
Real quick, Kai. Now, Fading Sun sounds like yet another dystopian sci-fi, sci-fi game. I'll take a look at it, but I'm wondering, what it does differently, than any other game. And I don't mean mechanics. I mean like world setting. I just recently read. What the hell was that atrocity you sent me, Connell?
Hey, don't blame me.
I'm not blaming you at all. I appreciate the fact that you sent it to me, and it will make a nice poster.
And your
Rogue
final
Trader,
ones from
nice.
40K, Rogue Trader,
I've got the original.
and then
Dark Heresy, yeah.
and Death Watch.
Death Watch.
Death
You know, yeah, that could have been, if they used, if they took all the words out and let me rewrite it, that could have been a stellar production. It's beautiful. The pages are beautiful. The binding is nice. The cover's nice. The artwork is great. But the setting, etc., is just okay. So everybody is a complete scumbag, and I don't want to be in this world. My best bet in this game would literally be to just blow my brains out and mitigate the suffering, because that's all there is.
I've talked about that before.
No, hold it. We also call that we also call that Soviet Russia, is because it seems to be tongue in cheek for a lot of the Games Workshop. Once you start,
no. This was worse than that. This is like, no. Maybe I'll
with 40K fans, with the fandom, because you got people who's like, yeah, I'd go to the Lord of the Rings, I would go to Hogwarts, or I'd go to Narnia.
Yeah,
but
no one.
I'm not going to 40K. Fuck that.
Well,
I'm good.
He said the 4-letter word.
Good.
He said,
I didn't hear anything. Which one was that, Connell?
I'm not saying who, but somebody said the 4-letter word. It wasn't me. It wasn't this guy.
I get them. I got the
Yeah. We're trying to be good about this. We're not.
So what are we playing for calendar year 2023? What sci-fi campaigns are you serious about running?
What have you got
in the can and ready to go?
We already heard from Hungar. He said he until things settle down. Well, Hungar, let me ask you, if you could, what would it be?
Well, James got me a copy of Gamma World Second Ed, and I've been a Gamma World fan since the first time I've ever seen it. I'd really like to run that for my kids. I think they'd have a lot of fun playing that.
Yeah, that's actually a very family-friendly.
Traveler. I've always been a fan of Traveler. I like making characters. I like being a freaking merchant. I like to cruise around. I like everything about Traveler. Combat, role-playing, everything. I love the system.
Hey, Chimeran, I know you say only war, but you know what? I don't like being the grunt on the ground. I like the Rogue Trader aspect, because that's the one time. That
actually sounds interesting, Kai. I'll give you props. That does actually was the previous comment, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was putting Kai on the spot. This one right here, Fantasy Flight Dark Heresy. No, that's not the one. Where did you go, man?
No.
The Fading Suns one about Dune?
No. About bringing the galaxy out of a dark age. Where the hell did that go?
BattleTech. I play the shit out of BattleTech. I play BattleTech a lot.
The problem is
but
as a role-playing game, that's not really what I would rather do. If we're going to really go back, is same era, same company, which is what is it? The Renegade Legion.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That's a
wasn't that
hard one
part
to
of,
find, though.
I know. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying if I was going to go back for that, but I think that really Traveler does a really good job for sure. Especially if you're going to get Traveler, don't just get the 2022 book. Make sure you get the what is the companion, whatever the option, the other book with it, and that really
the
opens it up with
companion and the equipment catalog.
No, not the equipment catalog. It's the companion
iGuard?
book. It's the let me find it. It's not well. So those are fine.
I have it over here.
Yeah,
I'll go grab it.
Yeah, you have it.
You got
I think if I can pull this one off, it will be sci-fi / fantasy. I've been talking to a couple of people that are outside my main circle of gamers, some new people, and it will be not Pathfinder, Space Finder, or Starfinder.
It's a companion book. Yeah, it's the companion book.
Yeah,
the Traveler companion.
I like all the Travelers. I never had any issue with any of the Traveler books that ever came out. I mean, some of them we play a lot more than the other ones, but hey,
the artwork
comes out with a system that you like.
Traveler. Whoa. Can't all talk at once, guys.
Oh, sorry.
I'm done.
Well, I didn't hear you.
I said that I like Traveler a lot. I've never really hated on any of the systems that they ever put out, any of the rule sets or editions or whatnot. Some of them are a lot better than other ones, obviously, but that's like all the games. I mean, shit, we all played first ed, second ed, advanced, basic, 3.5, 5e.
So there's one that you kind of skipped there. It's okay that we skipped it, but you kind of missed one.
Oh, I know which one I missed.
All right, just making sure.
I know, and I didn't play anything after second ed.
The Borealis game, I really like the way that book looks. I flipped through it last time I was over at James's house, and I would be really interested in playing in a game of that.
The Traveler Companion, this is what I'm going to say about that one, is it when they add the stuff like the sandy rolls and the morale rolls, and you can do that, you can really play a very, to me, it opens up the whole genre of just about any game you want to play. I think that's, to me, if you can get one of them, get Traveler, and then get the Traveler Companion, that's pretty much the only system you really need. And then really what you're doing for other books is buying settings or anything in particular. But
right. That's what I like about Traveler is you can literally, it's like the generic universal role-playing system for science fiction. You could do whatever you want. I mean, you can literally, play any game. You want to play Battlestar Galactica, Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek. You could literally do anything. You could do horror. You could do Western. Micro amount of work, and you've got it all in one core rule book. And if you want more gear and guns and gadgets and ships and robots, there's those books out there, plenty, and they're nice books. And I'm writing down Fading Suns on my just to give it a look. Because so far what I've heard is not the same old. We got
a spammer.
Do we? Where?
Sexbot?
Sexbot. Because even the bots get lonely.
So Ronan.
Put user in timeout or star comments. Well, knowing you guys, it would be star comments, but I'm just gonna block them.
What kind of pervert do you take me as?
I'm going to say something that's, because I know.
Let me go back.
Connell's a Pornhub guy. He's not this.
Hey. I have changed.
I mean, for Starfinder.
Where did our boy go?
Oh, no.
Oh man, Hungar. I'm guessing the nurse came in and needed to do a little, TLC for our man. We'll save that spot for you, Hungar.
I'm trying to think of what the other one is there. I looking at stuff is there's some great games out there, and I don't know exactly where they all are, but it's
real quick. Let me interrupt you, Omen, just for a second, because Travis, I've been trying to get a hold of you. Your package didn't go out because I need you to send me your mailing address, so I can get your prize off to you in the mail. You're one of the few people that I just probably my bad, and I can't find the email that you sent me. But our email address is in our 500 subs giveaway videos. It's in the description. Please get a hold of me because I really want to get you your 2 books out there because I know you'll love them. Omen, sorry about that, but I've been looking for him all week, and I was up late last night wrapping up packages like it was Christmas, and made it to the post office with 10 packages and custom forms, etc., with 30 minutes to spare. Because I was up till 4:30 in the morning talking to none other than James L. in Australia, because he's a great guy, and if you've ever talked to him, you know that you don't want the conversation to end. And sure enough, it was 4:30 in the freaking morning, and I had to get up at I was supposed to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, make breakfast, go shopping, and then go to the post office. I didn't wake up till 11:30. So. Omen, sorry.
Oh, no, I just meant, a lot of the systems, I know that Connell's talking about Starfinder. Star Frontiers is probably one of my favorite because it's so simple. And that was one of the things that came out from that. And I like the fact that at the time, it was one of the few that actually had chits and boards that all came in a box. You could do everything you wanted with
that original box set was an excellent value. Because it came with everything you would need for like an entire lifetime of playing. You could go back and use it. The maps, the counters, 2 separate books, and then if you got Nighthawks, that was a great game too because it was all the ship stuff that you didn't get in the first box, but it was also its own like little spaceship board war game, packed into yet another box, of which I actually have 2 copies of the original Star Frontiers, one of Nighthawk. It really is a like Omen said, a very simple retro sort of sci-fi game with all that entails. Rick, I know you're going to be running Shadows in the Stars all year long, but is there anything else you're going to be doing this year?
I'm thinking about doing a Space 1889.
Really?
Yep, possibly. What?
Space. Wait. Like Yellowstone 1888 or whatever?
No. It's you have to go look it up online first before because
it's Space 1889.
Can you explain 1889 to those of us who have never played it and saw it on this bookshelf and turned off because it looked colonial? All right, not the like the red coats on the front. So just explain that to the rest of us.
Freaking lobsters.
So it's basically going along the tropes of Conan Doyle, all those great authors of that kind of era where it's just getting on to the everybody's getting into the steampunk kind of thing, but not quite. It's a take on a lot of Wells, and stuff like that.
Edgar Rice Burroughs, don't forget him.
Yeah, it's all it's a big mishmash of all that kind of stuff. But you've got the Victorian era, and you have the Russians, and everybody's fighting the Russians or the Germans or it's everybody's out for colonialism out in the stars. Basically around the solar system as far as the setting goes. But you can go way out there. So certain section demographic of people are absolutely going to hate this game. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, come on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you never know. There could be a few complaints about the gentlemanliness of the whole thing.
Toxic masculinity and yeah.
So
I'm actually because I'm a huge John Carter fan, I missed the boat back in the day because, believe it or not, when it was out, I was like, I had read like a little bit of John Carter in the comic books and stuff, and I didn't sort of piece them together because I was like 14, at the time, and I'm like, God, I should have picked that game up, the miniatures and all that good stuff, and now I can, and I'm like, should I just wait for the new version or should I go retro?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it right now.
I got a question for Shadow. When he was looking at these comic books, were they really cave paintings on the wall?
No, 1977 was an absolutely.
I'm calling you old, you codger.
Yes, I know. I just want to bring up, though, 1977, the first Conan comic book, I got it. The first John Carter Warlord of Mars comic, got it. Micronauts, Star Wars. To go into a comic book store as a 10-year-old kid with a pocket full of cash in 1977, the world was your freaking oyster. It was one of the best years for being able to go into a comic book or game store and see all this incredible stuff that, I mean, come on, Conan, comic books, John Carter, and Star Wars all in the same year. Wow.
So I'm going to say something here, which is I got my first John Carter book, which was number 10. Was it Lana of Cathal or something like that? I got that for my birthday. A friend gave it to me, and I want to make sure that these two were separated. And during that same birthday party, he got punched in the stomach. The two are not related, but that was and if he's still around somewhere, I apologize for doing that. But yeah. I mean, this isn't Rick and Morty. This isn't Rick and Morty. We need to get those out of here. I'm going to ask Rick, 1889. Who produces it now, or is it out of print entirely?
Trying to remember. It was wasn't it? What's her name? Weiss.
Margaret Weiss.
Margaret Weiss.
Yeah, I think she ended up redoing it. But
she did Firefly also, right?
I would be going back to the original Games Designer Workshop version.
Okay,
I prefer that. Yeah,
I can do that.
I was just curious because I see Ulysses Spiel had it, but I don't see it on their website anymore, and I don't know which version is there, in which system. So that's why I was just. It was one of those that
long time no see.
Oh yeah,
John Terry, haven't seen you in a long time, buddy.
The other thing that I would be interested in getting into is possibly Mech Warrior. Get a game of that together.
The RPG or the war game?
The RPG.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But I was thinking of maybe doing a Traveler in that kind of a setting.
Mm-hmm.
The BattleTech, possibly.
The only problem that I have with the Mech Warrior RPG, I never liked. That's one of those that I was like, part of the reason I want to go into space is not to get more of the same. I want to go into space to actually have aliens and explore new worlds and kill bad guys.
I could. Oh God, I really don't want to. I did a one shot of Farscape, the RPG game, and it was. As much as people want to bitch about like 5e and everything else, this game will make you be happy to play 5e. It was just trash.
Right.
It was sad because I love the show. Absolutely love the show. I will continue loving the show. In my opinion, Farscape did aliens correctly. Where they're not all biopads. And the RPG, there was just. Doesn't matter how good the DM was, there was just no saving it.
It's so. I guess here's the question, because we're talking about science fiction, and I'm having enough fun talking about anything. I'm going to ask a quick question of Shadow. When are you going to run us through Mutant Chronicles, man?
I'm reading the books because I got the core book. And of course, I was joking with somebody yesterday. I'm sorry if I forget who it was. I bought it, and the next day, I found it for $10 cheaper. I'm like, oh man. But I've only got a couple of.
$10 is $10.
Yeah. Freaking rub it in. I will be getting all the PDFs once I get a new laptop so that I can actually put them somewhere. But I actually have all the original books. And before I run Modiphius's version, I'm also going to want to reread the old books because I'm reading some stuff in the New Mutant Chronicles that I don't remember ever reading about. The Ancients, I don't remember those at all. And I love what I'm reading in the Modiphius books. I'm like, this makes sense. Why is the word Mutant Chronicles? I always wondered that in, growing up. Why is the word Mutant Chronicles even in the name? There are no mutants. The Dark Legion aren't mutants. The Brotherhood and the other people, those aren't mutants. Who are the freaking mutants? And now I know who the mutants are. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. This ties in with a lot of the way I write a lot of my stories using the ancients, because who doesn't, right? How can you have a good, sci-fi game without some precursor race out there somewhere, so you can have those ancient ruins to explore and find those weird crystals that do all those weird things that might as well be magic. But I really like that trope of sci-fi. It's actually part of the 10-part story my son and I are going to be publishing through Biggest Geekus this year, which I want to talk about later, but probably not tonight. But each and every one of you guys, I would love to actually get your thoughts and maybe even help on some aspects of this, because in a nutshell, we're going to write 10 different world books, system agnostic, and they will actually tie together in both a fantasy and science fiction way. Imagine each book is one half sci-fi, one half fantasy, and it's the same planet, but you could run it either way. So I only have to draw one version of the map. You know what I mean?
So and just, like Dying Earth?
No. Well, that's up to the DM. Okay. You could use any book independently, or you could run like the mini campaign that runs through all 10 planets. But I just love using the whole ancient trope. It was done in Star Wars. Well, not Star Wars. I mean, it was done in Star Trek in that classic multi-part episode where all the races were looking for the DNA and the different species. And then you get the holographic, story of, we did everything, but now we're dead. And Babylon 5 did it, and it's just so much fun to have all that mystery, even in a sci-fi setting where all the sciences are kind of codified, and all the all this crazy high-tech stuff, but you still don't know the most basic, simplest questions that would drive people to the stars to find out where we come from and what's the meaning of life, and why is it 42, and all that stuff that just worked so well with the ancients, or a very ancient species, that even maybe they were looking for the same answers, and who knows? But that's up to the GM, how you want to have your cosmology, tell the truths, the big truths, where do we come from, why are we here, blah blah blah. But having something to work with, think of all those stories where the astronauts or the space travelers or whatever, they come to a planet and there's these ancient ruins. How many times have you come across that in a science fiction book or TV show or movie, and it's like, I want to do it my way,
You say Star Trek, and it kind of reminds every time somebody brings up deities in sci-fi, that there's always been a hard turnoff for me. And there's a great line from Star Trek. Kurt says, "Why does a god need a spaceship?"
Well, because he wasn't a god.
Right, but that's always been my hard line. That's why I don't want I normally, my sci-fi games won't have. I mean, there will be religions out there, but there won't be.
So this is what's important for you, Connell. That knocks out Coriolis. That knocks out Star Wars. That knocks out. That knock out some of these that I've brought out just because, but they don't work the same. There is, and Coriolis actually does have a religious aspect to it, and that is to be used to as their meta currency. I think Travelers, if you just want a good hard sci-fi, is probably the better of that.
I have
it's the simplest system. It's like, I was joking about it, with Shauna and some other people over the past couple of months. At some point, we're going to stop actually using dice because it's just going to be a flip of a coin. It's a 50-50 on your resolutions of whether you hit or perform a skill, or maybe you'll get 3. You'll have a coin pool, flipping for 50-50s. It's going to happen. Someone's going to do it and go, yeah, instead of dice, we can stick it to those guys. We'll just make our own coins, for resolution,
dice
determination.
have been around since the Egyptian era. They're not going away.
I'm going to put it this way. I just love my
joke.
I love my dice. All right, I've got another.
Yeah, that is heresy.
I know. Well, you know what? It's not that it's hard.
You're talking to the biggest fan of the Amber Diceless role playing game, so it's going to happen.
For your table.
I think that would be fine. I think the thing, this is what I found with, and I have to. The people I do play with, not us, super nerds out there, but my friends that are just nerdish. They well, that's true.
Please don't read that comment.
Is they do like having dice. They like rolling them. They like looking at the different numbers and pretty dice. And coins are okay, but unless you get like really big coins, they just don't feel. And I don't know about
it's entirely been tongue in cheek, because the mechanic of 50-50, Shauna was saying it the other day about, in a lot of percentile based systems where you come out at first level and your chances are like 40%. They wouldn't let you out the door if your chances were 40% to say shoot a target or to pilot a starship or to ride a motorcycle. Your numbers, out of high school are better than that.
I'm going to bring it another way, though. Is the roll should only be done whenever it's stressful and when it's outside your norm. And I think that's part of it.
And also, you're if you flip a coin, you're dismissing the options of partial successes and partial failures, which is why I don't like percentages. I don't like 50-50. I like the 3D6 because it has a curved distribution where most results are in the meaty middle without the tails, right? It makes things more realistic.
That's one of the things that I like. It's not just the bell curve. I do like that's one of the reasons I do like dice pools, is because you can add more and you can subtract some. That's one of the, but I'm not against any of them, to be honest. Is really, if the GM's good, that's fine. The only reason I sometimes like having mechanics is it does 2 things. One is it gets the player knowing that they can do more than just a basic roll, and number 2 is that it encourages the DM to include those into their game. Well,
check this out, guys. The game Connell sent me, Death in Space. You got 4 character stats, right? And to generate your stats, you roll a d4 for, let's say strength. You roll a d4, right? Then you roll another d4 and subtract 1 from the other.
Okay, like I said, I have friends that just enjoyed. This is one of the reasons I do like D6s a lot of times. They just didn't enjoy rolling dice. There's something special.
Right, but does that seem like really wonky to you guys? You roll a d4 and then you subtract another d4 from what you just rolled to get your strength.
But
you're gonna have
similar. Is it a modifier?
No, your stat is okay. Let's say you roll a 1, right?
Right.
Then you roll a d4, and if you roll a 3, you're still going to just be 0.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that it would be a modifier. So, okay, that's
no. So your stats are most likely going to be out the door zeros. Why don't I just start with all zeros and go up from there?
Well,
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna
pumpkin pie, and it wouldn't matter because it's a baseline.
Isn't the D? Colin, correct me on this.
It feels that way.
Okay,
It's more of a dystopian. The universe is collapsing, and everything and everybody is basically just struggling to survive, knowing they're going to just on junk and garbage, and everything is falling apart. There are no more cities. There are no more navies. It's just everything is just about to end, and you're just struggling to eke out a few more moments before it does.
I mean, I know that with your personality, you don't it will never get behind that game. I think it's kind of it's not surprising Max. Let's start with this. It's not surprising that Max pointed this game out to me because he likes dirt farmers, as Kai would put dirt farmers to hero storyline, and that's very much what this is. I mean, with all the stats being low as are, you're screwed. You're screwed.
Take care, Kai. Do you have to be on next week?
I'm gonna. I mean, when I look at it, and I guess when we're going to go through this, because we all talk about games we're going to run, and I would like to just run a game at this point.
I like to run Thundercats. That's what I want to run. I want to run Thundercats.
But bad Wi-Fi. I was thinking bad sci-fi is what you originally said. No, but I'm going to bring this.
At least it's not bad waifu.
I'm looking at the types of games we would like to run. Let's start from Pulp. If you're going to do a pick a system for Pulp, what will you pick?
No, the bot's back.
Pulp or sci-fi? I'm waiting for my turn.
Okay, let's hear from Bo. Because Bo actually was the guy who inspired me to bring this up tonight, because he had asked me earlier, how's he going to get people to his game? He wants to run a game, and I want to be in that game. I really would like to see Kai in that game, but I don't know. That might kill Bo.
I want to bring the Shark Tank proposal to the quorum. You don't know me. I don't know you. I'm bringing this to you as an outsider, pretty much. I've talked to Shadow a whole lot over the last couple of months. With my hat in my hand, I have an idea to run a game, and I've been working on this campaign for the last 6 months or so, world building and note taking. I want to run a game in the tradition of a military game, a military campaign where the players are all members of an elite military unit. I want you to think Starship Troopers, Predator, Aliens, all of the movies that you saw, that you got a squad of elites, right? And they go out, and it's a sandbox game. There are opportunities to complete missions. There's political intrigue. There's the War of the Roses that's going on in the background. All that stuff. And I really want, power armor, not power armor, mutants, maybe aliens, maybe not. Maybe you guys discover aliens, maybe you don't. Desert planets. I want you to think Dune. I want you to think Barsoom. I want you to think Buck Rogers, like the 1940s pulp. Lots of pulp influence. Maybe Space Cthulhu, maybe not. But there's a couple of things going on that I really want to bounce off your head, because my anxiety is going to start kicking in a minute. How would you feel if you were in a party, and if you'd been in the service, y'all basically probably the same MOS, right? The same kind of trooper. If you've watched Predator, if you watched if you watched Starship Troopers or read the book Starship Troopers, 5 guys, 6 guys going out and either saving the world or destroying the world, and maybe you become mercenaries, or maybe you stay loyal to the Republic. That's just where the game goes, but this is what's in my head, and I've got about 6 pages worth of notes on it so far.
So I'm gonna. This is me, just because I've been around the military too much. I don't like military campaigns because you're kind of a lot of stuff doesn't seem to make sense where you go. I really like pirate style campaigns, or because you don't have someone telling you what to do. Now, some players love that.
Have you read Xenophon?
No, I haven't read Xenophon. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm thinking about thinking about possibilities of being cut off from the chain of command, like a Twilight 2000 type thing, but in space.
Yeah, well, no, that to me would work fine. It's former military is one thing. I was thinking like, oh, we're going to be part of a unit, and I was like, well, if it's like the A team, that's different.
You have to start somewhere before you go anywhere. But it's up to the players. I mean, this is a sandbox. I want to run a real sandbox game.
Yeah. No. I that's the whole point of why I play sci-fi. Is I hate the fact of when they're just going to be like, you're here. That's one of the reasons that turned me off of Blade Runner. Is I looked at Blade Runner and went, there's some things that are kind of cool, but where is this going to go? I guess.
Oh yeah.
What?
Blade Runner and Cyberpunk.
A whole bunch of missions that are going to be very similar one after the other. That's what I see from Blade Runner.
I mean,
I want the players to go through, going on bug hunts and rooting out the mutants and putting down tax revolts or participating in tax revolts, depending on, either you free the slaves or you become slavers. I mean, I'm looking at it to start the game.
So what kind of system are you looking at there?
It's going to be a light GURPS, probably.
Okay. Yeah, you were doing GURPS. Okay.
I don't want to do like the heavy combat with like location tables. I don't even know about combat maneuvers. I want to keep it simple, and I'm going to do all the front loading.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to do all you'd have to say is just roll 3 dice, roll 3 dice, roll 3 dice. I know that what people hate about GURPS is that they hate the front loading. But if the DM does all the front loading and all you have to do is roll dice, it should be a problem.
No, I think that's I like sci-fi is my favorite. That everyone does fantasy. The only problem that I have nowadays is that everyone wants to. As technology's become the point that it's not that much fun where everything's removing us. But I was just curious. I think there's a lot of stuff. It's
going to be there is going to be kind of like Traveler. There's going to be FTL space flight through wormholes.
No, I mean surveillance state. That's the issue that I'm having with
the surveillance state, yeah. But there's no FTL communications. I've worked out the economy. The economy is based on trade, but also like blockchain type cryptocurrency, where the currency has to actually be transported via computer because they can't beam it. It has to be like on, like a hard drive, and you get paid, and it goes into your hard drive, and you pay you use the actual blockchain currencies when you're not trading. I don't know whatever it is that if your planet has whale fur and my planet has I don't know glass beads, and we're trading things. We have to trade valuables that are dense enough and valuable enough to be able to move through through a warp system. But I just want to know if that's a game that people would really be interested. I haven't run a game in like 25 years. Not going to lie to you.
Wow.
The whole point, Bo, for me, for space, is I want to be able to travel where I want. Like you said, very sandboxy. And sorry, as soon as you started saying military unit, I went, no.
Well, to start, that's how it's got to start. I mean, I've got ways to separate you from your chain of command.
Oh no, that's fine. No. That I'm okay with is like the Twilight 2000 kind of aspect, or where you were parts of something like the old Firefly.
You know what? You might want to watch, Bo, if you can. The whole time you're talking, I'm thinking one classic gem out there in the sci-fi multimedia format out there that was just so overlooked and so absolutely epic. Space Above and Beyond.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I could get on board with that in a freaking heartbeat. And yeah, being separated from chain of command, that's the way I look at it is like with the Traveler character generation system. A lot of what you're talking about can be done through the life path. When you roll up your characters, you were in a unit together. You did all these things together. All your, like let's say the last 8 years of your life path were like mirror images. Everybody's got like the same one, but they each rolled up different skills because one guy's the medic, one's the comms officer, heavy weapons guy, sniper, medic. Did I say medic twice? But that sort of idea, so that there's a little bit of difference, because when you're in the military, oh my God, they're back again. You get that, but then now we're playing after the DM gives us this narration period of why we're cut off, and we start there, or even maybe even do like a couple of missions to get our feet wet with the system, etc. I'm getting those bots.
So
I'm actually a little what's the word, flattered that they would come to us, with the sex bots. I feel like that's a little bit of a badge of honor. They're really coming at us hard and strong. Usually on when I'm on Bruce's show with Janet, it's like, okay, I got them, and they don't come back. Well, then they must sense a bunch of big wallets in the audience and in the crew here tonight.
Doesn't mean we're lonely. Jeez.
If you read the book Starship Troopers, it's kind of where I'm going to start in terms. I've got a template for the character class, right? The class isn't a class, but it's a template. But I give you enough points, and what you do is you'd spend the extra points in like avocations. If you put points into medicine or radio or whatever, and it's very. I'm planning on making the unit like very egalitarian. You're the best shot. You're the best shot in the unit, so you get the marksman's rifle, and you're the smartest guy in the radio, so you get the radio. And
so, Bo, can I give you a suggestion for this, just from personal, actually having gone overseas for some of these things? Just put up a big list of weapons. You create the ship, like you said, you're doing all the front loading.
Yeah,
and then. And for GURPS, the problem that I always had with it, and this is just me, and I have to break out of it, is because it is so point intensive to create characters.
Yeah, but that's 99% done, or 80% done at least.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you kind of create somewhat pre-gens and say, here's what it is, you put a list of skills, and then we just put the numbers for the skill that we want in there. Like how do I want to put this? It's like, because I know Traveler has this. It's kind of like, oh, you have 4 points here, 3 points. You have one skill that's 4, and then 5 that are 3, and then like 6 times, and then say, okay, guys, here's a list of skills that you should pick, and you just arrange them as you want. That makes it a lot easier for me personally. And the same thing with the stats. I know everyone likes to roll stats, and I know GURPS, you buy stats, but in certain cases, I found that, man, otherwise it takes hours to create a character, and that's the real turn.
It depends on. To me,
well, there's a real. Go ahead, Connell. Then I want to say a little something.
Let me say 2 things really quick. I think the concept of your game sounds interesting, but I would very much be interested to see which direction to go to. I'm more about story than I am more about anything else right now when it comes to campaigns. So if you can produce a good story, you got me a hook, line, and sinker. Second, though, when it comes rolling up stats, there's a lot of different formulas.
No, this is GURPS. GURPS use points. You have to
points. A point system. Yeah. That's where I'll be out walking. That's where I'll be driving over to Jade's house. I'm like, will you help me with this? I don't do point buy.
Well, and that's what I was trying to tell Bo is if you do that, where it's very similar to the point allocations you have in D&D.
Yeah.
If you do that, it makes it a lot easier for all of us. Even though it may not be our favorite for stuff, but it's one of those things that I know how I am because I'm a real math person. I will sit hours trying to optimize everything, which actually removes a lot of the fun of the game.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was trying to ask for Bo to. Well, the other thing is I had the book for GURPS. What was it? 30 years ago.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't remember the system for the most part, and that's probably good. So I would be fine. Yeah, it's skip at disadvantages, advantages. Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. I would rather just start off and say, hey, look, guys, here's a blank character. We need these kinds of archetypes. I don't want to call them classes because they're an archetype. We need a medic. Now, people can cross, reference it, but hey, we need an actual doctor. Okay, we cross-reference that. We need someone that's a sniper. We need someone that can actually pilot a ship. We need someone that can do this. And then exactly. And I think that those are, and then you just put your skills accordingly. And then it's not too hard, like to do a single session of us all getting together and like, well, who wants to be the medic? I'll be the medic. Okay. And then we all work together to make sure our skills work out well. That's my suggestion for, like you said, front loading, because that makes it really easy for us to just get going. But your idea of what's actually out there, that's exactly what I play the game for. Is I like to, it's to explore new worlds, to meet aliens, to blow things up, to run away. You know, that it's all the classic stuff.
Well said, Omen. Real quick, Arnman, I just had a really nice conversation with him, with Fritz just a little while ago, so I want to read this because this is excellent advice. Arnman says, I hadn't run a game for 35 years. The first session needed to be simple on world detail and heavy on exploring and action. You will be rusty most on remembering, I guess you meant to say your setting details in the start. Exactly. Remember what I said to you earlier. You know, don't go too far into the weeds with the world building and stuff, because 9 times out of 10, the party's going to want to go in the exact opposite direction of, you know, you got a white spot on the map. That's where we're going. You know what I mean? And you're like, no, oh shit. Give me like 30 minutes. Go take a smoke break. Let me, you know, cobble something together real quick. Second, hi, Laura. Really nice talking to you the other day. I hope you're loving Arduin. And back to what Omen was saying real quick. Like, for example, say the 5 of us were all going to play. Okay. It would be really quick and simple. Okay. It's like, I'll tell you right now, leave that sniper spot open for me, because I can't freaking fly anything. Everybody, you know, comes to you and says, yeah, I'm kind of interested in, you know, filling X slot. Okay, cool. You put a name down on a piece of paper and you write that, you know, that place that they want to fill. And then, you know, hand us some pre-gens or half done pre-gens, and we go from there as a team and we work it out in a session 0. And, you know, if the stars are right and there's time left over, we get into a quick, you know, 1-2 hour, you know, session of the, you know, the action, so to speak, because who doesn't like a Michael Bay explosion filled, you know, opening scene? Go from there. And then, you know, after we've done that, you know, say we play a week from then, that gives you a week to work on what you think we will actually be headed toward, you know, leaving wiggle room, so that if we decide to go to that blank spot on the map, you're ready, because you left it blank knowing we're going to go there, but it's not really blank.
Right.
Hey, Rick, I'm going to ask you a question, because you're familiar with the Cypher system. And I haven't really looked at the Stars on Fire.
Okay.
Sorry, Travis, I'm outside and it's raining cats and dogs. I'm going back upstairs.
I have it in a PDF and I have it printed, but I've never actually played Stars of Fire yet. So
okay, I was just trying to like bring out ideas that are all out there. For GURPS, we'll rely completely on Bo if you're going to be running the game, Bo. But I was just wondering, because I know that Cypher is pretty easy to learn. It's really fast to pick up.
Oh yeah.
So it's that's sometimes I think, how do I want to put this? Now, of course, I'm a big game nerd, and you can see all the books that I was bringing out, so I don't mind learning all sorts of different new systems. I kind of enjoy it, but I know that trying to get new players into a game, the easier the system it is, the easier it is for them to buy in.
Right.
I mean, I hate to put it this way.
First playing goes, all you have to do is roll 3 dice and get under that number. Roll 3 dice, get under that number. For combat can be crunchy, but I'm not going to make it crunchy. I'm not going to go in for, at least not for several sessions. Because you can do anything. You can say, you know what, I'm going to drop prone and open fire and take all those modifiers, or I'm going to go to one knee and open fire, or I'm going to dodge. Now, I'll probably use the dodge mechanic, but that's because you kind of, for the defense, the combat is so lethal. You need to have the dodge mechanic, because if you take a hit and it gets through the armor, there's a pretty good chance that, hey, get another character. But
I do know after playing Rift with Max and them, I don't want to be I don't want to be the driver again. It did not work out well for me.
Well, and I think that's the and that was one of the reasons I was mentioning, Bo, is we're talking about all these worlds around, but I think very much like Firefly and Serenity. Serenity was their home. That's where you really focus on doing everything in there. And the other part is, I'm not sure, and I don't remember if GURPS, I'm sure GURPS has it in there somewhere, but the stuff in Traveler when they had the quirks for the ships during design.
There's a GURPS Traveler, and I have it.
Which one?
GURPS Traveler.
Oh, okay. Well, if you look at the Traveler aspect, I'm talking about it's like under one of the High Guard or whatever when they're building the ships. If you get a used ship, it has quirks in it.
Right.
And those are the things, even if they're not advantageous, those are what make the ship special.
Right.
It's just like the Millennium Falcon. When he goes over and it's like this bunch of trash because it kept on breaking down and we need to get going. That to me is because I know how I am and it doesn't make for a better game, but it always, you have to break out of it, which is for me, it's like, oh, I want the super duper specialty ship that does this and it does this. And I created one in Traveler, the new version under the 2300 rules.
Right.
That takes longer than creating a character. I know that Rick probably knows that. Is I was doing all of that and I said, I got this. And it was intended to be, hey guys, you're going to be more of like a CIA group than you are actually like military. Right. So it could go just about anywhere, but by doing so, it also made it, how do I want to put this? Even though it was 200 tons, it had like one weapon and that was it. So it's not intended to go into combat. It's intended to do just enough to fly away. And but I'm not saying that's for you.
No, I don't want to spoil. I don't want spoilers to get out. But there are ways of creating tension in a game and in a party and just from a cinematic perspective. And if you want to create tension in a party, again, if you read Xenophon, it's about a Greek army that was caught in Persia. The movie The Warriors is actually loosely based on the story. But if you want to create tension, take your party and strand them someplace.
That is true. That is a very good one.
Or leave them or leave a party without a medic. Oh, your party doesn't have a cleric? Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you don't die. So
Travis,
it's not artificial.
Bad man. No, I'm just sorry.
Batman?
No, bad man. BAD.
No. But I'm thinking about ways to create tension in a mature game. And that's one of the problems I have with people. I don't want to stereotype too much, but people that want to play more of the 5e crowd, they want everything to be super easy. You never want a challenge, a real challenge in the game. And I don't want to be a dickhead, and that's not my point. I just want things to be a little bit scary for the players.
So Bo, I know that Chimeran and I are really on this because we were talking about the ship stuff, not necessarily in space, but I remember when Shadow was talking about it. One of the best things to do, whether it's the Star Frontiers where they did Crash and Volturnus or anything else.
I remember that discussion.
I'm okay with that. I don't mind being stranded. I don't mind, like you're saying, is where we're part of a unit and this, hey, you guys got stranded out way, you were way ahead of the fleet, or the fleet had to retreat. The fleet got destroyed and there's a long way home or something. But yeah,
Lost in Space.
that Lost in Space is okay with me too. I like.
That's a good example.
Personally, I like survival type games where the tension may not even, because to be honest, is I normally don't have too much tension with other players. It's not the tension with the other players, but it's definitely the tension of we have to hoard our resources. We have to be careful about things. I don't know how Rick feels about that. What type of game you like, Rick?
Just have to watch my my live streams. You'll see Shadow in the Stars. You'll know exactly. It's kind of like what Bo's talking about. It's a story about a crew going into all kinds of different situations. It's always something different every time. It's either going to be figure out the mystery, or it's going to be like, we got to get out of here now, kind of idea. We don't play with I never role play with the miniatures. It's all theater of the mind. I have some imagery that pops up on the virtual tabletop. And I try to I have a very different way of putting things together. If you watch my GM like the GM diaries, you'll see how I prep things and how things have changed, and you get some insight on that. And I come up with ideas and try to present them in different ways where you're creating bonding situations with the players first. That's what I would do with your game first, Bo. Create a bonding situation.
Right.
Get them into the. You could do something like they get into they're being drop shipped right into a situation. Boom, 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 boom. Have the action. Have the gameplay play out with the combat, so the players get used to it quite fast.
Right.
And then do the settle, like have a settle situation, and now the players are going to start realizing their roles in the group. Have some NPCs in there. NPCs are very important. It's a very important way for you as the game master to present things to the players in a character to character kind of situation. That way you're not having your game master doesn't say, well, what do you do? What do you do all the time? You want to have it natural. And I know a lot of people like miniatures. I love miniatures. I'm 28 millimeter RPG. I love miniatures, but I don't play them in my role playing games. You have to understand that.
Right.
But I try to get a situation going as fast as possible. Play through it within. Well, if you watch my videos, they're 90-minute sessions, and we try to get a full kind of beginning to ending situation with maybe a cliffhanger on the end of it. And then
that's cool.
Yeah. You're gonna find, as Bo, if what you're doing, what you want to do, you're gonna have choke points. And in Traveler, a choke point is how your ship gets from point A to point B. Or you could have a situation where as it's going from point A to point B, you might have something happen on the ship or something like that. So you have to have these control points in order to allow yourself as a game master to kind of say, okay, this is what this next planet is going to be all about, or whatever it is that you're engaging with the players. So be careful not to take on too much stuff, not to write down a million things. You have your big manuscript of this much paper. You want to have it very simple, easy to look up on a piece of paper. Here. This is these are my notes from my last game, and I just have basically I just wrote down all my characters, like the players. I wrote a few notes about who they're going to run into, what the outside world's like. I have a diagram, kind of a rough showing here, map of the complex that they're in. Very basic. I'm not knocking myself out on a lot of details here. And then I just make enough that it runs for that 90-minute session.
Right.
And it works. And then once they've decided what they're doing, how they're doing it, you can go to the next session and figure out, hey, okay, so now they're going for this. Well, let's flesh this out. And, it's my method. Because my games are very sandboxy. it's gotta work. It's gotta make it so that you're not always like pressured into, oh, okay, I have to have all these stat blocks, and I have to have all this prepared, and I have to have all these pictures prepared for it, and then I have to have all these maps prepared for it. And that, because if you go with all that stuff, and then they decide to 180 on you and decide to do something else, well, all your prep is for naught, right? So I always go theater of the mind, because it's such an expansive thing. This space idea, the idea of traveling through space, going to new places. You gotta have some form of control and restraint, and just prepare what you need. So
Hey, Bo.
Sure.
And I don't know if Shadows. I assume Shadows will be very similar, and Connell's will be this way too. If you tell us what you really want, and we buy in for it, it's just like whenever you run a module in a game. We're not going to try railroading it or taking it off the rails. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean,
Right.
you kind of, we all know how it is. And it's like you're creating an adventure. We don't want to go over the point where you're like, I throw away all my prep work because you guys just want to be dicks. That's not as a kid, it was like, you will not make me do this. As I get older, like, look, I'm here for the ride. Just let me have some control over it. You can put bumper rails on the side. I'll try staying in the bumper rails, but let me move around within the within your little bumper rails, and that I'm usually okay with that.
I was actually talking to Shadow about that a while back, pretty recently, and my idea was that there are events that are going on within the game universe, whether you participate in them or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you decided to go to planet B instead of planet A, well, all the stuff on planet A still happened. You just didn't get to participate in it. And it might not have had you get to make your choices, but you don't get to be free of the consequences of your choices.
Or lack thereof.
And if you didn't participate in stopping this planetary revolt, well, maybe you've got to deal with it again tomorrow. Who was it? Somebody was talking about from a fantasy perspective. If your players chose to avoid the zombies in the graveyard, the next time you come through, there are twice as many zombies in the graveyard. That's really what I'm talking about on a sci-fi scale.
Well,
so,
I'm saying from your standpoint, don't worry about it. You said you had that anxiety kicking in.
Well, I have anxiety kicking in because I'm trying to sell an idea for a game to 4 guys who have played more in the last year than I've played in the last 30.
Well, here's the thing. All you have to do is just say, hey, look, I have to do this. I don't think any of us mind it. It's like, hey, can I
that's one of the things about this huge, I'm going to use the word community because I just want to get this rolling on. You know who the a-holes are out there. You know what I mean? And most of us aren't not them. We want to help you.
Connell, you are not them.
Most of us want to make this place a better hobby and therefore help each other out. Even Rick, if I can help Rick out, I'm gonna. I'm not gonna bend over backwards or pick him up from the airport, but I'm gonna do whatever I can. Actually, if he comes down to California, if he comes to California, I will. I'll find a way to hook up with him, but I might not be able to pick him up from the airport. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as long as we know where the line is, damn.
I don't drive. The joke is I don't drive. Is my point. Maybe they didn't know that I don't drive.
Okay.
But I will move heaven and earth to get to freaking shake his hand and have a meal with him. And damn straight, we're going to have a game together, face to face, etc. You know what I mean? And if you put your heart out there and you've laid it out for us, we know you're not the strongest GM right now, but you know what, with a little bit of help from each and every one of us, you could be our go-to DM every not Sunday night, but every whatever night we pick, because I'm not stepping on Rick's toes for a second there when it comes to Sunday night. But if you pick the night, and if we help you, that's one of the things about us is we're always looking for a good game to get in, because we're all at one degree or another, that perpetual DM that can't wait to get into a game with great players, not just the players that, you know, that are there in our neighborhood or in our neck of the woods, you know, that we've been playing with for eons. We want to play with new great players, you know, that are a cut above the, you know, I'm going to use my friends as an example. They don't own books, and I've known them for 30 years. So if they want to goof around, you know, who am I? I can't do squat about it. But if one of them were to come to one of these kind of games, they'd be like, holy crap, I don't know what the hell I'm doing around these guys. But you're going to be hanging out with, you know, some of the greats, okay? Well, they're only going to make their own experience better by helping you out in any way, shape, you know, they can. And we'll be happy to, you know, give you any kind of advice or tips, you know, and before a game and after a game, there's always a little bit of time to, you know, what are you guys hoping for tonight? You know, test the waters. And then after the game's like, you know, how was it? You know, did I do okay? You know, I don't need a report card, but, you know, was there anything you didn't like? You know, maybe we can fix that so if it ever happens again. Or, you know, what did you like the most? Take a couple of notes and go, oh, they really liked it when I, you know, blew up the ship or, you know, did something cool or something unexpected. And, you know, now they're, you know, we're at a cliffhanger at the end of the night. And, you know, we're like, well, shit, cliffhanger, damn, you know, we love them. But at the same time, we're like, is it, you know, is it Saturday yet? You know, hitting you up on Discord and telling you all the things that, you know, we want, you know, to happen or we want to do so we don't waste up game time. You know, it's just like, well, just assume that from now on, after that one time, I've always got my freaking med pack right here and my pistol here. Okay, I'm in the shower. I got my med pack and my pistol. Okay, for future knowledge, you know that's the way I'm going to operate. Okay,
you know,
I'll be damned. You see what I'm saying?
So he's going to do that. I'm going to be a little bit different, which is because yes, that's the way that I should be playing. But the reality of it is that it's going to be very similar to like you're on a ship. Look, there was a reason we have weapons on there. We have a locker. There's no reason to go wander around with weapons all the time because we're not being boarded all the time. You know, that's I mean, there's a certain point where it's like, okay, if you're at home and you always have the gun on you, that's fine. But you know, what do I want to say? I don't want to metagame anymore. I want to act like it's more of a natural thing.
You don't want to be a Jane? Come on.
No.
Jane!
Well, here's the other thing, Bo. I'm going to mention this, and I don't care what anyone says. We all kind of want to have a sci-fi. I don't know about Connell, but we all want to have a sci-fi game. And if you're willing to run a sci-fi game, we're willing to accept a lot more flaws than a game that you tell us, oh, you have to play in this. We're like, oh, okay, it's going to be one of these games. No. The great thing about being online is everyone wants to be there. And the person that doesn't want to be there, it's like, hey, go find another game. I mean, that's
or they'll just lie and say, I can't make it real life. Sorry, see you next week. Next week rolls around. I can't make it again. I'm going to just have to drop out. You know, we've all had those kind of experiences. And Owen's absolutely 100% correct. You know, we're online right now because this is what we want to do. And we want to see more of it. And we want to sort of, you know, kind of schedule, you know, our lame ass real life stuff so that we can have more time for this fun stuff. And, you know, there are probably people, you know, watching right now or will watch later on who'll be like, hey, Bo, can I get in? You know, so if anybody out there, you know, likes what you hear, and I'm guessing Bo's probably going to want to do it on Discord or something like that. If he wants to do a StreamYard live game, I'm down with that too.
I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. I would like to have 2 cameras eventually. I'd like to have one camera on the table and one camera on me, and then a camera on each of you so we can actually see what's going on. I'm not planning on doing a lot of minis. I just want the combat to be, like I said, the only reason you ever use a map and any kind of counters or tokens for combat is so that somebody can't say, I was over there when the fireball went off. I wasn't next to the chest. I wasn't there when the trap went off. Well, you cheating bastard. That's why we have a map table, and you can show me exactly where you were. Another thing with games, I don't like when we're all mature. I don't like the Are you sure you want to do that? You say you want to do something, I'm going to give you a number and tell you to roll 3 dice. And if you fail, you fail spectacularly.
Well, I'm going to bring this up.
I can respect that. I really can. And I've been sort of listening to you guys talk about gaming with people. And yeah, like I said, Bo, I definitely play any game that you decide to run just because I like you as a person and I enjoy your personality. But does there come a point as DMs for us who have DM'd for a while where we become incredibly not snobbish, but snobbish, where we only prefer to run tables with other DMs?
No,
I hope so. No, I'm joking. But I've been incredibly lucky this year. As most of you know, I've been a forever DM most of my life. And this last year, I have got to play in games with Crafty and Rick and so many other people that were the highlight of my gaming as a player career. You know what I mean? These were some of the best games I've ever been in because I wasn't in control. I wasn't the DM. I got to play, put all that, control freaky crap off to the side and just go along for the ride and enjoy the ride and, do the cool things and be part of the action and the adventure as opposed to be, on the other side of the DM screen. If it weren't for certain things, I would be happy to never DM again because of all the cool games and people I've met being able to do this. But I know I can't do that. And I do want to try out some of the things I've learned from you guys. And, who was it said it just a moment ago?
So Bo, you mentioned maps. To me, the only reason I care about maps is position. I don't care about exact distances or anything. Right. You tell me I'm close, you tell me I'm far. All I'm really saying is, because you're right, because when I was a kid, we used to argue about, I was at this door rather than this door. And because someone said, I go to the door. Well, there were 2 doors in the room, and all of a sudden we're starting to fight over which door was there. And I said, you know what? As I get older, all I'm doing is wasting playing time because a bad thing might happen to my character. Like, as worst that happens is I roll up a new character. I mean,
yeah.
And Connell and Shadow, the whole reason I want to run a game is because I can't find anybody running the game that I want to play.
That's why I'm running my high seas adventure.
I want to play, I'd play it.
It just got to say in that darn man. Run the game you want to play in, and if people don't like it, at least you can say, I got to, for the most part, play the game that I wanted to be in or tell the story that I wanted to tell, without telling the entire story. You know what I mean? Because then we're just on a railroad, and as Shauner calls it, human die rollers, which I don't even want to roll any dice. If you want to roll all my dice, I'm okay with that. I don't need to see any dice.
I'll never. I mean, I'll deal with it, but I'll never completely hand over the control.
I don't need that. All that tells me is that maybe you're not entirely honest. I don't care. Roll, push my button for me.
It's nothing about being honest or dishonest. It's about having control over your character. You roll at nat 1, you roll nat 1, you roll nat 20, you roll nat 20. At the end of the day, it's not somebody else rolling your.
Do you believe that you have some control over what the numbers are going to be? You don't. If Bo rolls,
wait. Hey Bo, I know that they're going to this. I'm with Shadow. If you want to roll my dice for me, I'm okay with it. And if you want to fudge my dice for me, I'm okay with it too. Because no. Here's the reason I mentioned this. I'm not disagreeing with Connell because some people enjoy rolling dice. It's a game. The game has a tactile aspect. I mean, even my ex, who thinks this is as nerdy as can be, when I pulled out all of those dice I won, she was like Scrooge McDuck, throwing them up in the air, and playing with them because they're dice. They're fun to play with. All right. I don't disagree with that. And so when someone says, I want to roll dice, yes, because they want that tactile aspect. Absolutely. And then like Tom says but I mean, there's something to be said for rolling dice. It's fun. There's a why do I need dice this big? It's not just because my eyes are bad. I roll dice this big because I like the sound of them. I like it when they roll.
My point is that I don't believe that one person rolling for me or me, I don't have that Twilight Zone ability. to make the dice. I can't affect them. It's no different than when I play in games where I can't actually push the die rolling button. If I fail because somebody else pushed the button for me, I don't feel like the control was taken out for me. That was fate. I had no control over it either way. I'm rolling a random number. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the fails are better than the successes.
You made a comment a while ago about dice, and the DM has X amount of dice rolls per turn compared to the player, and therefore the DM should always come out ahead. Have you played a game with Jade? Because obviously that's not true.
Then he's cursed, and he should find a new hobby. Because if that's always going to happen, then why ever even participate?
If he would rock at games that you want to roll low, because that's really his. He does amazing at that. Oh my God! But I've been in a few sessions with him where I think the highest thing he rolled the entire night was a 10 as a DM.
But that can't be a permanent thing.
I'm going to say this much: is we're all talking about this, and at the end of the day, I want to play an adventure where I get to choose what my character does. The dice roll are to determine the things that are outside my character's control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way that I feel. And it's not that I'm disagreeing with dice. It's not that everything has to be theater of the mind. And I'm just saying from my perspective of playing, look, I want to play a game. I don't want to have to sit there and roll dice. And guess what? There are times that if I fail, the GM can make a more interesting game rather than if I succeed. And the problem is that if I roll, just using an example, if I roll a natural 20 and go, oh, well, I got a critical success, it doesn't necessarily make the game more fun. Sometimes the natural ones are more fun, and it's more fun for it's like, oh, okay. And I'm okay if Bo rolls my dice. I'm okay if
I'm not saying that I'm not okay with Bo
dice.
What's that?
Like not touching another man's touching another man's car. I'm not touching your dice.
Well,
roll your own damn dice.
You know what? I've got more than enough dice that you can touch. I'm just asking you to leave some of them as unsullied.
I was running a session 0 on this game with my friend Kevin. I was hoping you'd show up in the chat. We're trying to shake out some of the mechanics. And I've never seen a man roll 3 1s in a game. Pardon me, that was a critical failure. So it must have been 3 6s. Never seen a man roll 3 6s in an actual game before, but he sure as heck did, and it was glorious.
It's on YouTube. There's a video where Bruce rolls 3 nat 20s in a row.
He should buy a lottery ticket.
Right. That was actually kind of what I said. But I think it just really depends on everything continuates on the players that you have at your table. If you have a bunch of players that like the clickety-clack math rocks and likes to roll their own fate, then that should be the direction you go. You got another table that's like, I'm going to leave all my dice rolling up to the DM. Sure, more power to you. Will that stop me from playing a game? No, that will not stop me from playing a game. But if somebody's going to ask me what do I prefer, I'm going to be honest.
Here's the other thing that comes into it. I know that Shadow talked about this in one of his videos. You're really denying yourself if we all know the player who would cheat and will, I'll do the critical hit. But man, sometimes I remember playing, I failed one saving throw. I failed another saving throw. And the third saving throw, and it wasn't even third, there was a harpy, just so you can have fun with this there, Connell. And you know how harpies, you have to advance towards the harpy in 5th edition?
Yeah.
On a flying ship. I went to the edge. I failed the saving throw again, so I have to jump off to go listen to the songs. So I failed that saving throw. So my character's going to basically jump off a ship like 1,000 feet in the air. I asked the DM one question. I said, if I'm going there, is it okay for me to jump off the rails and try grabbing the harpy because I'm going over to where they were singing? He said, yes. I rolled a success on that one, so I was able to grab the harpy. And because of those 2 failures, we had a lot more fun with that Now, of course, if I had, because
Right.
now I did get a success in the last one, but those 2 failures.
That's a good example. Oh my God, they're back.
Oh no! Oh, but those 2 failures allowed me to have a better game. And
there's like as an archer,
we're not saying that. I'm just saying that for the people in chat to understand.
Failures
sometimes allow a story to develop that you would not have had before, or an adventure that you wouldn't have had before, and unless you get a killer DM, or that's one of the things I did not like about the old, when we talk about the OSR, first edition, roll poison, save or die. That was my only problem with it. Is I would have much rather them said, you know what, you take 1 hit point until you die, or you can deal with the poison. That to me was a much better, damage over time or something. That would have been much better.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying for Bo, because we're all talking about this stuff. Look, one is I'm in. All you have to do is create some archetypes and tell me, hey, I need you to build an archetype. I'm in for that. The other,
I don't think any one of us are not in. We're just now just arguing about dice, pro dice. That's really what it breaks down to.
Well,
No, for example, I just want to bring this up really quick. For example, I was playing in campaign about a couple months ago, and I rolled a nat 1. I rolled another nat 1. I confirmed it. And I'm playing an archer. My DM says your bowstring breaks. Not a problem, because that, it's like it's going to take you a whole minute to change out your string, so you're out combat. I'm like, no. If I'm a professional archer, it will take me less than 10 seconds, maybe 2 turns before I have a new string on. And he's like, how do you know this? Because if I'm a professional archer at this time, I should be able to launch 20 arrows a minute. It's been proven that the history show. You pointed out another one I just was watching the other night, and there's some professional military archers were what took out the knights. What took out the horses and knights, because you can't argue with waves after waves after waves of arrows pummeling down on you. And you're going to tell me it takes me a minute to restring my bow when I can launch supposedly 20 arrows within a minute?
I don't want to use that. All I'm trying to say is for Bo, because we're talking about his game and what
right. No, I just
it's all I really want to say is I know Shadow's a gun person. I'm a gun person. If we want to talk about stuff I'm sure that Shadow and I have never got into it. But if we want to talk like shooting long range up to 1,000 yards plus, I'm sure we can get into it. But at a certain point and this is what I think that everyone forgets about when you guys were talking about the chance for failure. Oh, you only got a 40%. You would never go out there. I've seen soldiers shoot. I have seen the records of how soldiers actually shoot in combat. They barely hit ever. The problem is that makes for a very boring game.
What I meant by that, though, Omen, is under optimum conditions at the range, they wouldn't let you onto the battlefield until your percentages were up. Once you're on the battlefield, you're going to be hit with negative modifiers for the things that you can't anticipate or you can't simulate on an actual battlefield. They're not going to qualify you as a marksman or a rifleman until you get to a certain point.
But my point is that 40% is taking into the normal stress of combat, whereas if you're in the range, your character shouldn't be rolling. If you're rolling, we're just going to see how high you score. Oh, you can get marksman, you can do this, you can do that. That's what I'm trying to say is the problem is that we're taking something in an ideal situation, and you should have a 90% of doing X in an ideal situation, whereas I'm looking at the 40% really as in a bad situation, it's 40%, and then there are even more negatives on top of that.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking at. So I don't want to.
That's the only way to spell my name.
Yeah, but Colonel, oh come on, we can take that. But that's what I'm trying to say is I think that also often it's people look as I roll to go. I go to the supermarket. Roll your drive skill. You don't need to roll your drive skill until it's raining and someone suddenly stops. There's a dog in front.
No, Gertrude's rule for that. You should only ever make a skill check in any game if it actually has an outcome. The outcome affects the game. It affects your health, your wealth, your social standing, your relationship with peers.
Right.
Otherwise, you shouldn't have to roll the dice.
Well, and I think this is the other thing that comes into it is, I don't want you to roll to go to the supermarket. I just don't.
Trust me, I'd have to roll for me.
Oh, okay. Well, but see, then that would be a flaw in your character.
That's a disadvantage.
And only then would it say you roll. It's like I can't perform. Oh, well, what is it? I'm going to go for the old world of darkness. Incompetent. I'm incompetent driving. Oh, okay. Yes, because you don't know what you're doing. If I put my son behind the wheel and say, "Good luck, drive us to the supermarket," you're just going to be like, "Hold on, boy." You're like, "Good luck." We've all heard about that 8-year-old that's driving.
And for the record, I can drive. I just don't.
Well, you know what? If I had a girlfriend, she'd be driving all the time anyway. So that's.
I need to get a doctor.
Okay,
I'm just teasing you.
I got to take off, guys.
Oh, okay.
I got to
See
go.
you later.
You know what, Rick? It was an absolute pleasure having you here, and I look forward to seeing your stuff tomorrow. Have a great rest of your weekend.
And Bo, if you have any more questions, I see you're new on like asking questions on my channel. Just keep on asking. Any questions you want about running a sci-fi campaign.
Absolutely.
All righty. Take care, guys. Thanks again.
Thanks again. My pleasure. Oh, you won, man.
Oh, I see a kiddo.
Oh yeah. So that's cool.
Come here.
So Bo, here's what I'm going to ask for you, if you don't mind. Someone, I hope you're in the Eastern time zone. No, I mean Pacific time zone.
That's Augustus.
Oh, okay, cool.
Augustus.
Great name.
That's a solid name.
Hey,
yep.
You know what? I was able to dodge my. I made sure that my son wasn't named that.
I don't know. Your dad has a pretty epic name though too.
What do you mean, my grandfather?
Was it your dad or was your grandfather?
Leonidas.
Yeah,
that was my grandfather, but he was from the Spartan region. No, I'm going to say this much. So, Bo, since we're all talking about this, and I don't, you know what? Some of the fun is just imagining the characters we can have, even if we never go anywhere.
Right.
What are the roles that you want from us, and which ones are we going to pick right now?
I mean, again, I like specializations for insects.
Yes.
The template is basic, but I want you to take as many side skills as you want in terms of points. And I think I've set aside 20 or 30 points per character to pick skills, and you can talk about that amongst yourselves. The game should have a little bit of everything. The only thing I really don't want anyone to have right now is interstellar pilot.
Okay.
As opposed to a shuttle pilot. If anybody wanted to take skills in short range, and that's as a plot device.
Okay.
Well, and I do have ideas.
Right there, Bo. That's the kind of stuff that we can all deal with. Mm-hmm. If you explain it, straight up, we're not kids. You don't have to hide anything. You just say, "Look, dude, I don't want you to do this right now because of plot armor or plot device." We're all grown ups. We can go. Okay, cool. That's probably for a really good reason. We're not going to argue about it. I was like, "Oh man, I'm out. I wanted to be the star pilot. I'm out." We're not going to be like that.
If you're a little bit familiar with 40K, or if you've watched, or Dune, I want that the pilots that travel through the warp network to be a little bit special, and I want to have that either available as an NPC down the road, or another player character down the road, or who knows what's going to. Same thing with aliens. I mean, if you wanted to play an alien character, you might wait until the 5th or 6th session to be introduced as an alien character, because
or die first and have to come back as an alien.
No. You have to do the Mage's Musings, which says you have to reach a certain level before you're allowed to pick a new character class. That's what he's been doing. I'm not sure if you've seen it, where he says, once you hit, because that way it encourages players just not to die. Now, I'm not saying that we would be doing that, because it's like, I got to get a certain. No, actually, Bo, here's the reason I'm asking. Is whenever you start saying science, my mind goes, all of a sudden the computer starts clicking on it.
Before we go anywhere else, because the game takes place mostly on one arm of the Milky Way galaxy. When you start thinking about character background and planetary background, you have almost carte blanche. Like I made an NPC when I was playing with the character. I made an NPC who was emaciated and malnourished because he was basically from the bottom gutter of a huge hive city. And so even though his faces were cheeks were sunk in, and for his extra skills, I made him basically the wheelman.
So this was my whole thing of when you're starting to go through it, is because it's like a giant pachinko machine.
Sure.
It's like, okay, we're just going to pour a bunch of BBs and see which ones go through.
Well, pachinko.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of BBs. You watch all the pachinko go through. And it's like, all right, what archetypes can we play at the bottom? And I'll pick an archetype. And that's what I'm asking. From your standpoint, is what archetypes would you like?
Can I make an Indiana Jones character in space?
You can make being Indiana Jones your avocation. And if you want to put points into languages and sociology, I would be more than happy. You can, if you want to play the college dropout, or it's got that directly ripped off from Starship Troopers in that the service guarantees citizenship. What's your motivation?
How it should be in real life.
Okay. So from Starship Troopers, and this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say is I would like to be, if you allow this, the Neo dog handler.
That is something I had not considered yet, but yes.
Oh, dude, you are the man.
Let me work on building a Neo dog. Let me work
on lost, but that's okay.
Pointing out a Neo dog. Well, me and my buddy Kevin will do that. We'll do that after Tuesday because I'm working I'm working Sunday and Monday.
The whole thing that I was thinking of, and I really don't care if it's a Neo dog. I don't care if it's a space, dog equivalent, or the thing like they have with the banthas or whatever. Is Shadow said he wants to be the sniper. I'm like, okay, you can be the sniper, but I want to be the one with the Neo dog. I want to be over there, and I don't care if it's one of those of, and I don't know if it's going to be hard science fantasy or not. If it's going to be a little less hard science fantasy, then I want the ability to have the do a little bit of telepathy and stuff,
sure,
and to be able to help. What I want to say, not that I'm the best for this, but the person that likes to interact with nature and possibly other animals, so I don't have to have really good combat skills. That's what the dog's for.
Or people skills.
Well, that's kind of what I mean. Normally, it's like, yeah, I'll be the pilot, I'll be this. I said, but you know what? If we're going to be on the world, I kind of would like to have an animal that's like almost like the border collie that comes with me and runs forward and goes over and you can whistle.
Dude, man, I hate you. That's the coolest. That is so freaking cool, dude.
So, Shadow, were you? It seemed like I caught you off by surprise when I said I made that comment. Citizenship leads to service leads to citizenship.
I'm just proud of you, man. Yep. I'm just proud of you for having that thought come into your head and come out your mouth. That's awesome.
No, I completely agree with that thought.
If you have time, again, the audio book for Starship Troopers is on YouTube and free.
I have it pre-downloaded on my iPhone, and because I know at some point with our Sunday reviews, I knew that book is going to be thrown. The book or the movie was going to be thrown into the pile at some point. So I just, prepared.
It's literally, I read things like Doc Savage and Perry Rodin and stuff like that as a kid, but in my first week of 7th grade, that book was in my library, and I just saw the title and went, and I grabbed it, and that was like my birth into freaking actual sci-fi. And I can't wait. I wish my son would be reading that right now. He would love that book.
Start reading Dresden right now.
I wish he would read anything, to be honest, but he hasn't read anything except one particular book that I refuse to mention on camera. Just because I'm just like, oh dear God,
It's not us. It's we. No.
Oh yeah.
No,
The book about the Yahtzees. Yeah.
No.
No. It's not like well.
So
I don't know how to
the question
describe
is, Connell, what type of character do you want to play?
I said Indiana Jones.
Okay.
This belongs in the museum.
We got a reservist spot for my buddy Kevin. He's one of us. He's already got his character done. He has got he spent his points on computers and communications.
Good. Good. I don't want to do that. What movie was it? Was it Saving Private Ryan? Where was it? I think it was Barry Pepper who played the sniper.
Yeah.
Who was always that's who I'm picturing. Something like that. Very religious, holy shot from God. That's what I'm picturing. I just love that character.
The way the mechanics work and for some reason, because the weapon does heat damage, lasers are like king in GURPS. Lasers do like so much damage. And so we gave the characters laser rifles and then gave the designated marksman a bit more oomph, it's the same rifle, but it's like the best of the lot. It's the pick of the litter. It's the one that the owner went through and said, hey, this one is really good. I don't know what happened. Let's give that one to the guy that can shoot. And also I had an idea because GURPS, unlike a lot of games, it tends to start with, like Traveler, it starts with characters that are already experts, right? You don't start at level 1. You're not 0 to hero. You're already competent and you progress from there. So I was thinking about giving everybody the equivalent of a treat, like a magic item. Like if I gave Shadow's character the extra good rifle, and if you gave Owen Owl's character the extra good Neo Dog, and that counted as equipment, you have to pay for it with points. And then Connell will think of something for the Indiana Jones. Send me an email or something when you.
So you know what that reference is from, right? Shadow.
I remember it, but I can't freaking.
It's from the movie Freaks, where they have the one of us.
Oh God!
I was actually thinking something different.
I
was probably mimicking that.
God, Freaks! They had Mr. T dressed up in Mr. T was dressed up in a sundress most of the movie. That movie was fucked.
I don't know if they did a remake of it, but the original Freaks had real circus freaks in it, and it's like a pre-code horror movie.
Yeah,
and it's scary as hell because it's like 1930s pre-Hays Commission when you could pretty much do whatever. It's a lot.
You had a midget crawling from underneath the cart. Am I thinking the right movie?
Well, they had the pinheads.
Oh dear God! Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm sorry. I enjoyed the movie for that.
Okay, now here comes the hard part, guys. Not even though the harder part is going to come after that, which is where we say goodnight. What night? Or morning?
I need to get everybody's email addresses first. And Shadow can send them to me, and then I will send everybody out Bibles and templates. And if you can get a copy of GURPS Lite for free on Steve Jackson's webpage. Just the 30-page, the free, and that'll tell you 99% of everything you need to know. And then let's plan a session. I'll plan session zeros with each of you individually, and then maybe we can start in I don't know, in 5 or 6 weeks when we get some more. Just let me get my work schedule hammered out, and then we get I'll tell you what days I have off versus what days you're available.
I'm good for weekends. I just don't like doing stuff during weeknights, because I work the next day. So that's
right.
Yeah, my weeknights are pretty freaking full, to be honest. Other than Mondays, and I think even those might be. We'll see.
Well, we can't do tonight because we're doing the show tonight. So I don't know if we could do like a Saturday afternoon.
You know what though? We could maybe. We'll see how you feel, but I'm willing. I'm willing to open up the Saturday night show for your game. It doesn't have to be live, but it would be nice if you could record it. And if you decide that, afterwards that you're okay with it, then we can post it, even on your channel, which is fine too, which would give you some great content, to start your channel out. But
well, the first one is going to be the unboxing from the Shadow and Sun giveaway. I think that's going to be the inaugural 12-piece minis video.
Yeah, I'll be getting that package on the 19th.
Oh, you mean as we all show them up and say, "Hey, look, this is what we got."
How do you know it's the 19th?
Because I got an email when somebody sends me a package through the mail.
Ooh, that's very
really nice. Okay, smart. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you do read the book, because I'd really like to get everybody's comment on whatever Arduin books they pick up, because I'm unable to be overly critical about its flaws, because it has such a warm special spot in my heart because of all the good times I had with it, from my
biased.
Yeah, incredibly biased. If it sucks, let me know why. etc.
I'm getting book 8 out of how many books?
Well, that's just it. There's no. It's not. There's no. After the first 3 books, all the other books can come in any order. It's not like you're reading a novel. It's supplemental books with supplemental rules and ideas for your game, whatever that game might be.
So Bo, again, just like, I don't need, you're like, well, go look at the rules. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go in here not knowing the rules.
You don't need to know the rules. I just want to make sure that if you want to take some of the disadvantages are inbuilt into the template. Like, for example, everyone has to take duty to the unit or something like that.
Okay. No. I mean, just send me. I guess what it comes down to, we're all talking about this. For me, though, is, how do I want to put this? I don't mind knowing my character sheet. I don't mind all of that stuff. I just need something really basic so I can just throw in points into, hey, you guess what, guys? You got 4 skills or 6 skills or whatever. Throw them into here as you want, and then, because I know how I am, which is bad for min-maxing, I will try optimizing my character. That really doesn't provide any more fun than for me than just simply saying, what?
You're about the role playing.
Yeah, well, I'm about the adventure. It's not even because role playing would be like, oh, that's the interaction. I'm about the exploration. I'm about the let's go out in the world. Let's go understand what's going on. And if I'm going to say, hey, I want to do this, you just say, hey, you know what? I'll let you roll. I don't really care. I don't have to roll dice. I mean, I'll do
as much as I absolutely love that, Omen. I really do like playing a character that I can kind of get attached to. You know what I mean? That I can really be enthusiastic about playing. I've been in games where I didn't like the character, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll play the cleric. But I'd rather play the X.
Well, no. What I mean by that is that's why I said if he has certain archetypes. If we're missing someone, it's not like, because with GURPS it's a skill-based system. So we can cross-train in certain areas. Like I saw someone talk about a medic and a mechanic. Well, you know what? I have no problems taking a medical skill so I can work on the dog or myself. Okay, fine. I can do both of those. That's not a huge deal. What I was trying to say is, how do I want to put this? You can do the long form, which is you can go, that I used to min-max to with GURPS. I could min-max to the point that I hated the system.
Right, and that's really a bad thing, because, like I said, the whole game boils down to roll 3 dice. Did you roll under this number?
Well, you know what? You might be a good thing to remember or revisit is the movie Aliens.
Yes,
that team.
That's what I said. Aliens. This is if you want to be a heavy machine gunner, Connell, you can be the Indiana Jones heavy machine gunner.
Well, what I was focusing on mentally was the interaction between the squad. They they could tell jokes with each other and put each other down, and that wasn't going to affect them fighting together. But they cared about each other, deep down or whatever. They had that little bit of connection. You know what I mean? Because all the characters, you can remember them from Bill Paxton to the other characters. You remember them because they had actual, real, believable personalities. You know what I mean?
Let's remember, what was Bill Paxton? He was the computer guy,
right? So if you want to do any homework, I'll send the Bible, but think about. I want you to think about Platoon, and I want you to think about Saving Private Ryan. I want you to think about RoboCop, and I know that Omenel hates Paul Verhoeven movies, but think about Total Recall, and all the really cheesy science fiction you've ever seen in your life.
Oh no! I just hate the fact of what he did with Starship Troopers and what he did with Batman.
Okay, now start again. Starship Troopers. Let's not think about what it should have been or what it could have been, but just what it is on his face. Just the movie.
It was the fact that he made it humorous and tongue in cheek was what bothered me about some of that. Because actually I enjoyed the cartoon more than I did the movie.
Oh, well, the cartoon.
I'm not gonna lie. The movie, I look at it like this. You guys know how much I love Mutant Chronicles. I actually like the movie. Okay, the movie, if I didn't know anything about Mutant Chronicles beforehand, like when my son watched it, it's a decent movie. If you forget the other stuff, it's a decent movie. Starship Troopers, if you don't and never read the book, which mind you, probably 90% of the people who ever watched that movie never read the book.
90% of the people who read that movie never read the book.
I know.
Right.
I know.
Well, that's sad, but it was still not the worst science fiction movie ever. It just wasn't true to its source material.
No, I know that. What I'm just saying for this whole thing is, and this is the
way.
But
I agree. Can you imagine how good that movie would have been with the drop suits? Oh dear God! And you know what I mean? That movie would have just, if they would do that, that would be like the first time in 10 years I got excited about a movie.
But no, this is the whole thing this is what I'm looking at is, Bo, I'll have to, I don't even know what your email is, Bo.
Shadow's got it.
Okay. Anyway, okay, I'll just email Shadow. Here's the part that I'm referring to is I have no problem trying to create a character, here's what I really don't want to do. I'm better off if you give me somewhat of a pre-gen and I'll move some stuff around if I don't like where things are.
Sure.
Than just going over and saying, "Hey, I want you to build this from scratch," because I know how I am, and that's what I'm referring to.
For me, building from scratch will help me learn the game.
And then from there, what I would do is I would send it to the rest of the party, because all too often, everyone talks about session 0, where we formalized it, but I'm getting so tired of everyone not having characters that are supposed to gel together, and I'm like, you know what? Here's my character. Here are my skill sets. And you guys tell me, you know what, we have a little bit of medic, but I need to do this. Or we need someone that can do some mechanics. Or we need some stuff to do this. And at least someone gets those skills somewhere out there. That's what I was referring to.
I completely agree. I mean, to be honest, it'd be easier just to give me a pre-gen character to a certain degree and let me twink with it a little bit. Then I can make it into something fun for myself.
Yeah, I'm going to let that slide. That's
Connell. Would you play a character who was a badass, who had an experimental gun, who did like a glass cannon, did a shit ton of damage, but say like on a 1% chance to blow up the whole party?
Yeah, I'll play that.
Hold
on, dude. I got you. I got you, fam.
The character's name will be Rooster.
All right, with that, folks, I gotta let you go. I gotta.
What was that, Bo?
I've got to pee like a racehorse, and we did go like 30 minutes over. If you guys want to stick around after I turn off the show, feel free. But I gotta go do my thing, and then I will be jumping over to Nathan Allen's show because I told him I'd be there a half hour ago, and I'm not there, and he's gonna be like, "Dude, what happened?" Yeah, I saw that too. I'm not putting that up.
With a permanent venereal disease.
Yeah, I think I'm going to let you guys go. Every one of you guys out there, have a great week. Thank you for stopping by. We had a whole bunch of great people in the chat and a whole bunch of great people on the panel tonight. Thank you guys. I'm actually really looking forward to this quite a bit. What I'm not looking forward to is the 5-week wait. 5-week
How
wait.
long is it going to get time to get the game together and get all the characters
I'm
made?
just giving you a hard time. I'm just giving you a hard time. Everybody else out there, have a great week and stay positive. Good night, everybody.
That's right. The first skill level.
All right.